نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. Today, inshallah, our respected Imam will start Surah An-Nisa, the surah that's named after women. And there are many important things that are spoken about in this surah. Specifically, one important thing, as can be understood by the name of the surah, is the rights of women and the importance of treating women properly. As we know, in the time of Jahiliyyah, the time before Islam, women were treated extremely unfairly. They were oppressed. They were treated in a very terrible way. And so Islam came and rooted out those evil practices, as encapsulated by the statement of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anh, in which he said, "Ma kunna na'uddu lin-nisa'i amran." We didn't used to think anything of women. We used to think them as very low people. حتى أنزل فيهن ربنا ما أنزل, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed about them whatever He revealed. وَقَسَمَ لَهُنَّ مَا قَسَمَ, whatever He gave to them in terms of inheritance and other things and rights. Until that point, we used to think nothing of women. But after this point, we used to realize that this is something which is very important to deal with women in a just, in a beautiful manner. And so specifically, I want to zoom in on one ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu la yahillu lakum an tarithu an-nisaa karha." O you who believe, it is not permissible for you to inherit women forcefully. This was one of the evil practices that they used to do, that if a family member, such as a father or brother or some family member, passes away, they would inherit the wife and they could do whatever they want. They could marry her without even giving her any sort of mahr forcefully, or they could marry her off and take the mahr for themselves. This was an evil and unjust practice that was prevalent in that time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very clearly refuting and ending and stamping out this evil practice and telling this is absolutely impermissible for you. Then Allah talks about another evil practice, which unfortunately is not limited to the time of Jahiliyyah, but we hear stories of this even happening today. And that is, He says, وَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ لِتَذْهَبُوا بِبَعْضِ مَا آتَيْتُمُهُنَّ إِلَّا أَن يَأْتِينَ بِفَاحِشَةٍ مُبَيِّنَةٍ. Do not prevent them from marrying others so that you can take back some of what you gave them in terms of the mahr, except if they come with a very clear indecency. What does this mean? This means that sometimes when a man is married to a woman and they get into some sort of argument or there is some friction between them, and the husband decides that, I don't want to keep her as a wife anymore. However, he purposely does not give her the divorce, the talaq. Why? Just to spite her and just to make her life difficult, so that she, technically speaking, is still under his care, and she is under the marriage, and she has no way out, just for the purpose of spiting her and making things difficult for her. This was something that they used to do in Jahiliyyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very clearly here and other places in the Quran as well rejecting this practice. Yet we see, unfortunately, even until today, we hear very unfortunate stories of this happen. If we know this, we need to make an effort to tell these people that what they're doing is absolutely haram and forbidden and absolutely wrong. And of course, there are other routes that someone can take, like taking it to a council of ulama who can annul the nikah if that is something that is valid in that circumstance. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after this says, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, a very comprehensive statement, that and deal with them and be with them in a very beautiful and kind and the known manner that is known in the Sharia. Meaning whatever the Sharia has told you in terms of being good towards women, treating them in the best possible way, deal with them in that beautiful manner. And there's so many ahadith, if we were to talk about the ahadith that talk about treating women specifically beautifully, we would have to have maybe a whole lecture or maybe even a series of lectures talking about how much is emphasized in Islam. Just one hadith should suffice, that the Prophet ﷺ said, "The best of you are the ones who are best to their families, and I am the best to my family." And we see this in the beautiful characteristics of the Prophet ﷺ, how he dealt with the women in his family in such a beautiful manner. Despite the fact that sometimes there were some friction, there were some things that happened, sometimes even towards him, yet the Prophet ﷺ forgave and bore everything in the best possible manner. Then lastly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that فَإِن كَرِهْتُمُهُنَّ فَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. Such an important principle Allah explains that can help so many marriages. Divorce rates are skyrocketing at this point. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions an amazing principle that can really help to lower this rate and to keep families together. Allah says that if you dislike them, if you find something you dislike them in them, then it's possible you dislike something that Allah has actually put a lot of good in for you. Right? In a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he elaborates this point, that لا يفرق مؤمن مؤمنة إن كره منها خلقا رضي منها آخر. That a believing man should not dislike and hate a believing woman. if he dislikes some quality in her, then definitely he will find some other quality within her that he loves and that he likes. So what is Allah teaching us here? Let us focus on the positives. Let us look in the beautiful and nice aspects of our spouses. This can apply to both ways as well, the husband and the wife. Let us look in the beautiful aspects and qualities of our spouses and focus on that. And if there are some evil things, so some bad things, we should overlook those things. Yes, we should, convey the message, but if it's an innate quality within them, we should overlook and look at the positive things. And this, inshallah, will be a means of creating harmony and unity in our homes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all tawfiq and grant us love and unity in our homes. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.